though 19-point game after 3, and Warriors bench group tonight actually got them back into the game to where it wasn't over mid-quarter. Steve Kerr went back to Steph Curry, went back to Draymond Green, and there was a point in which a Ty Jerome, Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, Draymond Green lineup was helping to keep the Warriors in the game, which is pretty incredible when you look at it. But then quick couple of buckets for the Suns, and Steve Kerr called it off at that point after the Suns had hit it right back up to 16. And then the mop-up minutes were very unkind to the Warriors as they went from a 16-point deficit to a 29-point deficit. So it winds up looking a hell of a lot more ugly when it's all totaled up than it was really with 4 or 5 minutes to go. But the one thing that you cannot, I mean, unequivocally, the Warriors' defense has just been flat out atrocious. Flat out atrocious. Through the first 4 games. I think some of it is them just not looking to be engaged on the defensive end. I think some of it is the new players and combinations that they're trying to work in. I think some of it is you've got a coaching change with Mike Brown heading to Sacramento and Chris DeMarco and others taking on the lead role of the defense. So I think there's maybe some issues there as far as trying to get everybody on the same page. But you add all of that together, and it's just been ugly. It's just been absolutely ugly, and it's allowed teams to get real comfortable with the Warriors. The rotations have been bad. They're getting beat off the dribble. It's really started even before that with the transition defense, which has been brutal in the early going here. But it's just set kind of a blasé tone to where the Warriors are going to have to outscore teams at an extremely high level just to win games. And look, tonight was first road game of the season against a team, and we'll see, this will play out over the course of the season, but against a team in the Suns that believes that they are, if not on the Warriors level, right beneath the Warriors level, and they should be battling with the Dubs throughout the course of this season and maybe even in a playoff series. So you knew the Suns, even on a Tuesday night early in the season, were going to be bringing it like this game meant a hell of a lot more to them than maybe it did to the Warriors. But I thought they were engaged, but they just didn't have it defensively again. And then frustrated, I think, with some of the calls. The free throw disparity ultimately winds up being a big difference. Suns go to the line 34 times. Warriors go to the line 17 times. I think the Suns were the aggressors. I think the Warriors did settle for a lot of jumpers. I do think there were a couple of calls, as you can make the case in any game, where maybe a foul should have been called here or there. I think that Draymond layup that he missed that turned into the Ayton bucket on the other end, he was probably fouled on that one. He was fouled on the and one that he didn't get that led to the technical foul. So there were a couple of calls here or there, but nothing that impacted legitimately the outcome of the game. But I think the Warriors' frustration boiled over from the poor defense to thinking they were getting a bad whistle to a team yapping at them that believes that they are of the Warriors' ilk. And it all turned into what wound up being an ugly, ugly night here in the Valley of the Sun, 134-105. So the Warriors now dip to 2-2, 0-1 on the road. The Suns walk out of their home arena tonight with a record of 3-1. So long way to go. But we've talked about it these last couple of games here, the fact that the Warriors just haven't brought the intensity that needs to be brought defensively, and they didn't do it against Denver. And I kind of warned everybody, not that it makes it right, that there were going to be probably more games like this where they wouldn't be as locked in. And it carried over from Friday to Sunday and even to tonight as well. So let's get to our 10 o'clock hour. We'll get to some phone calls after that.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
All right, the Xfinity mobile text line is open. The phone lines are open, 888-957-9570. Let's get it started here with Skills in Vallejo, our tip-off caller tonight here on Warriors Wrap-Up from Phoenix on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Skills?
Hey, good evening, John. Good to be on with you again. First of all, I just want to agree with you completely about this defense. It has been atrocious, and I think that's the word you used. But the only thing that's keeping me sane right now about it is that there's 80 or 78 more games to clean it up, and they've got to clean it up. The other thing I want to mention real quick, and I know you guys are probably full phone line, so I'll get off the phone quickly. People are always trying to step up. I always love it when inferior players, whether they're inferior in ability or accomplishments, step up to superior players. And Booker, yeah, he's scored a lot of points in the NBA. He's had a great career so far, but until Chris Paul got there, he was scoring all those points for a loser. And who was he to step up to Klay and try to talk mess to Klay with 4 rings on his finger or 4 rings on his hand? It makes no sense to me, and I don't blame Klay for stepping up. You remember a few years ago, John, when Zach Collins of the Blazers tried to get in Klay's face?
I do, yeah, back in 2019. No, I do remember that, yes.
Yeah, okay, good. And then Klay listened to that for about a couple of minutes, and then he was like, why am I even engaging with this guy? You know, I'm not comparing Zach Collins to Booker, obviously. Booker's way better, obviously. But,
sure.
You know, it's just Klay did what he had to do. People think he's soft. He's not soft. He'll step up when he has to. And the Warriors are going to turn his defense around and get things turned around quickly. Thank you, John.
Yep, appreciate it. Long way to go. There's no question about it. But when you look, I think it's Booker trying to come up with some kind of an edge. And you know, I didn't recall, and usually I got a pretty good memory. I didn't recall Booker and Klay specifically getting into it in the past, but Steve Kerr brought that up in his post-game interview session that he thought that there had been an incident before between those two, but they were talking all night tonight. Like, it wasn't just in the third quarter. I mean, the third quarter was in everybody started talking and really getting into it, and some of the back and forth with the officials and some of the frustration. You know, the game was just getting chippier at that point because it looked in that instance like it was going to go down to the wire and be a tight game, and I think you had both sides trying to establish themselves for the remainder of the night in what they thought was going to be a tight game. But yeah, Booker, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if Booker's, you know, telling him, hey, you're done, man. Like, it's my time. You know, as Klay's staring at an 0 for 8. And look, I think there is some bleed over in terms of, you know, not just the frustration from just the team aspect of this, but I mean, Klay Thompson's frustrated with the fact that he's on a minutes restriction again to begin a season. And yeah, it's October and not January, and there's plenty of time for him to get it together, but you know, he wants to get back to being the guy that the Warrior fans want him to get back to being, which is the 2018-19 guy. And I think, you know, every game that goes by where it doesn't happen, it snowballs. And I think that's what you're seeing, some of that frustration build. And you know, the only way to snap out of it is to just relax and just keep shooting the rock, and eventually he's going to have some big games. The one thing I am going to say, and I said it the other night, and I'm going to say it tonight, and I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over, I think we got to slow our roll on the whole pre-injuries Klay thing. Like, he's going to get back, and it's going to be 2018-19 Klay. Like, I don't think we're going to see that Klay Thompson ever again as consistently as we saw it at that point in his career moving backward. Like, doesn't mean he's not going to have nights where he looks like it, but I think those nights are going to be fewer and farther between. It doesn't mean he can't have playoff games or a series where he does it, where he plays like it. He will look like it at times, but I just think there are going to be more games like this one and more games like some of the bad ones that we saw even last year mixed in with a lot of good ones where Klay looked like Klay. But this notion that it's going to be as consistent as it was 4 years ago and 2 major injuries ago, I'll say it. I just think we're a little delusional if we think that's what it's going to be. Again, not to say he can't be a productive player to help this team ultimately win another NBA championship, But I got to wonder if some of that frustration is maybe stemming from Klay wanting that so bad and believing he can get back to that level so bad, and it's just not happening. And at times I think that happened last year as well. 888-957-9570. Al at Alameda next here on Warriors Wrap Up. Hey, Al, you're on 95.7 The Game.
Yes, hi. Good evening. Thank you for taking my call. There's the last caller kind of hit my note here. Yeah, I'm talking about our starting five there. I'm kind of concerned about Looney here. Looney's kind of soft there. He's got to be more present there. I think he needs to be coming from the bench now and put Wiseman as a starter. Okay, I'm serious about. He's not that type. I mean, he's only 27, 28. He's gassing in there. I see him in there. He's gassing. Okay, and another thing is Klay Thompson. He's not that type that he used to be. Like he's just he could be one of them deadly shooter and a last minute taker. You're not going to see him doing 30 points anymore. I don't think you're going to see him doing 20 points plus. He's just too slow now. He's getting intimidated by young stud right there. Okay, like tonight, he got intimidated. He's not the same Klay anymore. And you need to get Jordan Poole starting with Curry as a playmaker. Get this guy tired. Today they were just walking around, and they're not tired. Phoenix, they're not tired because there's no playmaker. And when Jordan Poole came in there, he got everybody fired because he was running around, got everybody tired. Then when he went back to the bench, back Klay in there, I mean, everything just went hell. I mean,
thanks for the call. All right, Al, thanks for the call. Good. Appreciate the call. A lot to chew on there. Look, they're not moving Jordan Poole into the starting lineup. And, say what you want about James Wiseman and his offensive game, which I think has, for the most part, looked pretty solid. The Suns spent about a 7-possession stretch tonight where they just attacked James Wiseman defensively and got whatever they wanted on every single possession. Missed a layup on one. I think it was 6 out of 7 possessions where it was pick and roll and it was get Wiseman off the mark and just they abused him. They just, I mean, he looked lost out there. Terrible positioning, not coming out high enough, and the Suns are able to hit a jumper or getting him out of position enough to where you can drive him to the basket and get a layup. He's got a ways to go defensively. I do think, that being said, he's probably better than he was a couple of years ago before his injury on that front, but you're not going to make that switch at this point. I do think it's nice for the Warriors and for Wiseman that he does look more comfortable offensively, but defensively it's I think been a borderline nightmare to this point of the season, barring a couple of plays here or there that shows you the template for what it's going to have to get to a little bit more consistently. So we'll go ahead and pause here. 888-957-9570. Phone lines are open. We'll get to more calls here. We'll get to the Xfinity mobile text line as well. Hope to hear from a couple of players down in the press conference room here tonight. Warriors wrap up as the Suns beat the Warriors tonight, 134-105. You heard it right here on 95.7 The Game.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Football season is here. The new Odyssey app lets you stay connected to your NFL team, your station, your shows. Follow your favorite stations and come back again and again. Get real-time updates on everything you care about. Miss your show? Jump back to their awesome rewind feature. The Odyssey app is NFL football. Live and on demand. Wherever you are, whenever you want. And did we mention it's all free? Download the Odyssey app today.
When Big Mobile charges you an arm and a leg, they're taking your money and your power. And your arm and leg. Boost Mobile gives your power back with an unlimited plan for $25 a month on one of America's largest 5G networks. We can't give you back your arm and your leg because we're not qualified surgeons. Unless you're an iguana who can grow limbs back. Switch to Boost and get an unlimited plan for $25 a month. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. New customers only. One line, $25 per month with autopay. Additional restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com for details.
Navien tankless water heaters, the proven leader in condensing technology. Request a Navien because you deserve the best in endless hot water delivery. Learn about Navien's condensing tankless water heaters and find a Navien contractor at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Count on Navien.
95.7 The Game has your tickets to the Good Guys Car Show, November 12th and 13th at the Alameda County Fairgrounds. For your shot to win, head to 957thegame.com/contests.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's Joe Shasky from the Morning Roast. And if you're an independent restaurateur or are starting a brand new business, then you gotta know about my friends at Trimark. Trimark, making independent restaurateurs' dreams come true in Northern California for over 55 years. Whether you're designing your next restaurant or you need equipment and supplies, this is where Trimark comes in. They do it all. And what's most important to them is being a partner to their business customers. Visit TrimarkWest.com. That's TrimarkWest.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to getrbawindows.com for full offer details. Homeowners, do you know when it's time to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Can't see through fog between the glass? Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've been putting off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And this month only, you can buy one and get one 50% off when you purchase 4 units. Just text WINDOW to 323232 right now for your free consultation on top-quality affordable windows or even patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for an entire year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, buy one and get one 50% off. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Text WINDOW to 323232 right now. Don't go into winter with drafty windows. Text the word WINDOW to 323232. Don't wait. Text WINDOW to 323232.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic. Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Score big with Xfinity Internet. It's made to do anything, so you can do anything. Supercharge your home with the game-changing speed of supersonic Wi-Fi. With 3 times more bandwidth, it covers the field and then some. And blocks billions of threats with advanced security that helps keep you protected at home and on the go. If you're keeping score, that's internet that does it all. That's unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas.
Thompson now dribbles on the break, gets bump, hands. Oh, great no-look flip by Thompson back to Wiseman for the dunk.
He had nothing else there because he was going to lay it up, but then the secondary defender came, and it was a beautiful pass behind the neck.
One of the best assists we've ever seen Klay have. Let's see. It's Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's been ejected from the game. Klay is pointing to his ring finger, and he says, "I got 4," as he walks off.
Now back to Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
All right, John Dickinson back in Phoenix, where the Suns handle the Warriors tonight, 134-105. 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text here as we react to this one. Yeah, ugly moment there for Klay Thompson as the frustration boils over after a lot of John back and forth. And yeah, Klay showing off the ring finger to the Suns bench as he headed down the tunnel after being ejected by Ed Malloy in this one. Third quarter, really a frenetic third quarter stretch where it looked like it was going to be a pretty damn good ball game, but you had the Warriors allow things to get away from them in that stretch. 9-0 run turned a 5-point game into a 13-point game, and then the Suns ran it all the way up to 21 before the end of the third. Warriors ended up down by 19 going into the fourth quarter, and the bench group, as we mentioned, did get the Warriors back to a point where Steve Kerr tried to go for it at 109-97 with 7:32 to go, but then the Suns pushed it right back up to 16, and then mop-up time over the final 5 minutes was really ugly, and it winds up being 134-105 as the Suns kept their starters in the game for a little bit, even after the Warriors had waved the white flag in this one, taking them out with about a minute left and beating the Warriors in this one by 29. So the Dubs now giving up 124 points average in the 4 games and 70 in each of the last 3 first halves, which is just, never been done in franchise history, the 70-70-70. And so the awful defense just setting a bad tone for everything else for the Warriors here in the early going of this season. How much of it is new personnel to a certain extent, although you can't really say that about the top 6 that are playing for the Warriors. You can't really say that about the starting lineup that's playing for the Warriors. Maybe the bench group. How much of it is selective engagement, a little bit of a championship hangover, knowing that games in October don't mean a whole hell of a lot. It's all about how you're playing coming down the stretch in April and really the beginning of the playoffs in the middle of April and May and June. And the Warriors have shown, well, a much better defensive team overall last year, and they got off to a start that let everybody know they were back and they cared last year when they were 18-2. Being a defending champion is just different. And I think we saw it over the years where the Warriors were trying to defend titles with Kevin Durant. And a lot of talent, loaded teams, and there were just a lot of nights where the Warriors thought we can come out and win a game offensively. And I think right now they're in that mode, knowing that they've got essentially 5.5, 6 months to try and fix it. And right now it's just ugly. And tonight, I think in some ways the ugliest of all, because the Warriors did rally on Friday to make that game respectable, and I thought competed in the second half of that game. The almost collapse against Sacramento was, that would have been an all-timer had it gone the other way. And then tonight, at times, there was some competitiveness. To me, tonight wasn't necessarily about the competitiveness. It was more about the execution. It was more about just not knowing where to be at different points. So 888-957-9570. Let's go to the Xfinity mobile text line here. The 510 reacting to what we came back with here as far as Klay getting ejected. Not a good look. Klay got ejected and didn't exactly exit the game professionally. Team gave up a ton of points. Hopefully the young players learned something. Look, I think Klay's earned a little bit of go say what you got to say and be frustrated. You win 4 rings. You're as big a part of the championships as Klay has been. I think you earn a right to get ticked off. And by the way, the first ejection of Klay Thompson's career tonight. So I think he's earned a little bit of a leeway for allowing somebody maybe to get under his skin a little bit. And if you didn't see it, Devin Booker postgame on TNT said, quote, "I love Klay Thompson. I've said that from the beginning, from the draft coming out. I said I wanted to be Klay Thompson." So Booker trying to tamp it down a little bit. But again, after the game is one thing. You see that a lot, in today is guys dap each other up after the game and give each other a hug. I don't think that'd be happening tonight between Klay and Booker. But on the court, a lot of dudes in this league are running their mouth. And I think both guys were running their mouth. I think there's some frustration on both ends. You've got the Suns' frustration from believing that they should have at least one championship, and they've had some gutless exits, let's say, to the playoffs in each of these last 2 years. So I think they've got some demons that we talked about on the pregame show earlier that they're going to have to overcome. And no wins in October, November, December, January, February, or March are going to allow the Suns. They could sweep the Warriors by an average of 29 points this year, and if they played in a playoff series, the Warriors would probably be the favorite, and the Suns would know that it could be a completely different story at that point, given the way the Warriors have been able to rise to the occasion, given the way that the Suns have shown that they've come up small on the occasion. But the overarching headline, aside from the frustration from Klay, is just the terrible, terrible defense. The Warriors cannot get any stops, and there is just no defensive identity on this team right now, and it's crushing them. It's crushing them, and the Suns attacked them repeatedly tonight. Just comfortable early and then exploiting different matchups. I mentioned in the last segment when they really went after Wiseman, and it got ugly there, despite Wiseman being all right on the offensive side of things. But yeah, just a tough night, and at some point it's going to have to change if the Warriors are going to win a championship. But they know they've got a long way to go. And I think they feel that they've got the talent to do it, but at some point they have to decide when the effort level and the intensity level is going to have to kick in, and it frankly didn't tonight. I don't think it was, like I said, what we saw Sunday. I don't think it was what we saw at Chase on Friday, but I do think it was not the level that I thought we might see of road game against a team that thinks they're of the Warriors' ilk, nationally televised. Hey, we're going to come out and we're going to make a statement, and we're going to play buttoned up, and we're going to hang around in this game and not give up 70 and a half, and put yourself in a position where you can, at worst, steal the game late. And it just didn't happen for the Warriors in this one. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Warriors wrap up here from Phoenix on 95.7 The Game, as the Warriors are now 2-2. The Suns improved to 3-1. And, the free throw disparity in this one, a big deal as well, as the Suns wind up 28-34. So they ended up plus 15. Asked Steve Kerr about that stretch of the game in the third quarter where all the technicals were going on and maybe the Warriors lost their composure a little bit. He thought the difference in the game was more just the poor defense and the free throw disparity, and he tried to explain the free throw disparity as just poor positioning on defense, being late in rotations, and we've seen the Warriors over the years go through struggles with that, which leads to fouling. It's not new to see the Warriors when they're not playing good defense. Bad defensive teams foul a lot. So rather than complaining about the Warriors not getting a whistle, I think you have to almost take a look in the mirror, and I think the Warriors are. I'm not sure the fans necessarily are on a night like tonight, but I think you got to look in the mirror a little bit and see that the Warriors, when they're playing poorly defensively, do tend to foul a lot, and when the Warriors are settling for jump shots, they tend to not get to the free throw line because they're taking a lot of jumpers. 888-957-9570. We'll hear a little bit from Steve Kerr coming up in just a moment, but let's get to Ricky next here on Warriors Wrap-Up on the phone lines at 95.7 The Game. Hey, Ricky.
Hey, John. How you doing, buddy? How's it going?
What's going on, brother? Good.
Going good. Wish it could be better. Wish the Warriors got the W, but, it happens. Tonight with Klay, I'm not really surprised. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I don't know if you remember Sunday I called and I told you I didn't like Klay's body language. He had his head down. He just looked like he was a frustrated player, because obviously he's in a minutes restriction. And, other players are getting his playing time. And, it sucks, when you're like a player like Klay's caliber. You want to be out there, you want to score, you want to build a rhythm. You really can't do that if you're in and out, coming in and out all the time. And Klay's a confident player, and he just does not look confident the last 2 or 3 games, to be quite honest with you. And I think it's a problem. I think today it just burst out. All that frustration that he had just burst out today, man. And I think he's mad at Booker. Obviously, he was chipping with Booker, but I think when you're mad at somebody, you always take it out on another person. You know what I mean? Like, that's life, right?
Yeah.
If I'm mad at you, I take it out on someone else. But the thing is, I think he's mad at Steve Kerr, to be quite honest with you. I think he's mad at Steve Kerr because, he has him in this kind of, in and out minutes restriction, and you're not letting me build my game up. You're kind of holding me back. Like I'm your, project or something like that. I mean, I think that's what Klay is really mad at. I think he's mad at Steve Kerr. All right, man. Thank you for your time, man.
Yeah, appreciate the. I mean, he's got no. If he wants to be mad at Steve Kerr, he should be mad at the medical staff. And look, Klay Thompson met with the media today at shoot-around. The Warriors held their shoot-around over at Arizona State, and I was there. And he said at that point that while he doesn't like it, he understood the fact that the medical staff was trying to put him in a position to where he's feeling good about himself. In November, December, January, and more importantly, April, May, and June. And if that means he's got to sacrifice a little bit in October, he doesn't love it. In fact, he hates it, but I think he understands it. And he was pretty forthcoming as far as just acknowledging that this process for him right now isn't fun, but he's got to get through it, and eventually he'll get through it. And I think the toughest part for him is when he feels like the position that he's in out on the court puts the Warriors in a worse position to be able to succeed. Like, you're the reason, I think was the exact quote, that your team's in a slump, or at least you feel that way. And so Klay Thompson's trying to work through that, and I think that the concern turns to frustration, turns to anger, and I think a lot of that boils over when you've got the young fella chirping in your ear. And yeah, you know what? Devin Booker's a nice young player in this league that's come into his own the last couple of years. And, I don't want to get into the back and forth as to whether Devin Booker should be talking mess to Klay Thompson. I mean, anybody can talk mess to anybody they want. And let's be honest, tonight, and I think part of it was Klay's game, more so than even the back and forth, but Booker got him tonight. Booker, Klay got tonight, and usually the Warriors are the team that gets other teams, for the most part. How many times has Draymond got somebody? How many times have the Warriors frustrated an opponent into a situation like that? So you get got sometimes, and you move on, and you come back, and you try and get better from it. So I think I'm less concerned about Klay moving forward here. I think he's going to be the player that he was last year. I think he's going to be a better version of the player that he was last year. Where I slow the roll again is I'm not sure he's going to be the player that he was as consistently as he was going back to 2018-19. And I think at some point you can just see him wanting it so bad. You just have to accept that it's okay if it doesn't happen. He wasn't that player last year, and the Warriors still won an NBA championship. He can be less than he was before this year if other things develop and go a certain way, and they can still win an NBA championship. So I think eventually, once he gets back to playing 33, 34 minutes, and once he starts having some better shooting nights, at that point, I think everybody will relax and settle in, and it won't feel like every night's got to be the night that Klay has has his big breakout or the night where we say he's back. Like we just have to stop doing that and let him play basketball to the best of his ability to try and help this team win. 888-957-9570. Adrian and Danville next here on Warriors Wrap Up. Hey, Adrian.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
So
what's on your mind?
I was wondering, Mike Brown was supposed to be like a defensive guru for the Warriors, and he's not there anymore. I mean, I'm just wondering if that would have anything to do with their defensive lapses, because I don't think I've ever seen the Warriors play this bad defensively, for like this long. I mean, they're just giving up points left and right,
Yeah, they Mike Brown last year, and thanks for the call, there were game-specific game plans early in the year. Like, they were really locked in defensively at the early part of last year, and Mike Brown was a big part of that. And yeah, now he's in Sacramento trying to teach them how to be a better than bottom third defensive team in the NBA, which they really haven't been in about a decade and a half at any point. So we'll see how it shakes out, but the Warriors have to figure it out. Again, that's the part that's unknown. Is it the combination of Mike Brown leaving and the Warriors maybe not being as engaged on that end because they're defending champions and they know that this is what they hope is an 8-month grind to another NBA Finals appearance and a long playoff run, and they're pacing themselves early and trying to win games with offense? Is it a bad mix of personnel? At this point, I mean, they don't have Gary Payton II, who was an elite defender, and we had somebody on the Xfinity mobile text line point out the fact that Gary Payton II did a nice job against Booker. Booker really wasn't a factor against the Warriors. And I know he didn't play in one of the games in San Francisco. Actually got hurt, I think, in the first matchup, and then they played 3 or 4 days later. He didn't play in that game. But in the other 2 games, he was less of a factor. And, Gary Payton II was able to defend him at times. And I think the Warriors do miss Gary Payton II because he was somebody that could guard a bunch of different positions at a really high level and block shots and come up with steals that got the Warriors out into transition, and now they don't have it, and they don't have anybody that's able to fill that void. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but regardless, it shouldn't be this bad. It shouldn't be 70-70-70 in 3 first halves. It shouldn't be an average of 124 over the course of the first 4 games of the year. It shouldn't be 134 tonight on top of 128 on top of 125. I mean, that's the issue. Greg in San Francisco checking in on the 415 on the text line. Come on, JD. Free throws. Golden State's a mediocre defensive team under Kerr. Actually, that's not true. They've been an elite defensive team under Kerr in a bunch of these years. Not all of them. They've been average in a few and better in the playoffs, at least good enough in the playoffs, but they've been closer to elite than mediocre overall. So that's just factually inaccurate. I'm not saying the free throw, the free throw thing to me was not like I was relaying what Kerr had said when I asked him the question about the free throw disparity, and then he gave his reasons why. I don't think the free throws was really that big of a deal. Like I'm being at the game, watching the game, I don't think there were 15. Like, to me, the Suns, for the most part, play here, play there, earned the advantage that they had at the free throw line. Like, I'm not one of these guys, and you know this if you've heard me over the years. I'm not one of these people that believe that you look up at the end of the game and the free throw attempts have to be even. Like that hogwash. If you've got a team that's more aggressive, if you've got a team that's worse defensively, if you've got a team that is shooting a lot of jumpers, then you're not going to be getting to the free throw line. And I think the Warriors over the years have had a lot of games where they fall into all of that. They shoot jumpers that aren't falling, and they foul too much because of some poor defensive habits, and they lose games typically because they foul too much, they turn it over too much, or they take too many bad shots that lead to to the opposition getting easier opportunities. I mean, it's typically one of those few things when the Warriors do lose a game, and tonight it was a combination of a couple of them. 888-957-9570. Let's go ahead and hear a couple of minutes of Steve Kerr in his post-game press conference as he met with the media downstairs here in Phoenix.
What about communication when it comes to defense in that second year and all of you guys? How do you feel about communication right now in defense, and how do the new guys kind of find their voice?
Well, I wouldn't say just the new guys. I think the communication overall was bad. We had a stretch late.
Is Klay Thompson being ejected midway through the third quarter? Let's hear from the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr, presented by...
All right. A little recording snafu there. So a little bit of Steve Kerr, and a little bit of Bonte. Hi, Bonte, over at NBC Sports, Bay Area. Bonte coming up. I do my math here. Bonte coming up in about 7 hours and 20 minutes. So. He'll be the next voice you hear, at least local voice you hear after mine, but that's coming up when we sign off here in about 15. 888-957-9570. We'll go ahead and pause here. We'll come back. We'll get to a few more text messages. We'll try and tie a bow on this one, as it was ugly. Final of 134-105, Suns over the Warriors, and you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game. All right. Well, maybe we won't. Maybe we won't. Nothing's working.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for just $49.99 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Offer ends 12/5/2022. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable based on RootMetrics US report. Results vary, not an endorsement.
Navien tankless water heaters, the proven leader in condensing technology. Request a Navien because you deserve the best in endless hot water delivery. Learn about Navien's condensing tankless water heaters and find a Navien contractor at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Count on Navien.
The award-winning documentary Beyond Homeless, Finding Hope offers real hope for transforming homelessness in San Francisco. Watch at beyondhomeless.org.
Did you know that thread count is a myth? Think about it. It doesn't matter how many threads your sheets have if they're not the best quality threads. I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch, and we know that the softest sheets are made with the highest thread quality, not the highest thread count. We start at the source and make our sheets from scratch. Our farmers grow the finest 100% organic cotton on earth. Our weavers are the best in the industry and only use the longest staple threads. This all means our sheets are free from toxins, have superior softness, and get softer with every single wash. They're so luxurious, they're beloved by 3 U.S. presidents. To top it off, we have a 30-night risk-free trial, plus free shipping and returns. Our sheets are made different, so you can sleep better at night. Get 15% off your first set of sheets when you use promo code DEAL at bollandbranch.com. See site for details. That's BOLLAND branch.com. Promo code DEAL.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. That's forhims.com/joy for your free online visit. forhims.com/JOY.
Navien tankless water heaters, the proven leader in condensing technology. Request a Navien because you deserve the best in endless hot water delivery. Learn about Navien's condensing tankless water heaters and find a Navien contractor at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Count on Navien.
The new Google Pixel 7 Pro is super, especially when it's on Verizon, the network America relies on. It's supercharged, super powered, and a super...
deal.
You know it. Now, switch to Verizon and get the Google Pixel 7 Pro on us with select trade-ins and select 5G unlimited plans.
That really is super.
Yep. There's never been a better time to switch to Verizon. $899.99 device payment purchase with new smartphone line on select 5G unlimited plans required. $200 Verizon e-gift card with port-in. Less $700 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Trade-in conditions and additional terms apply.
Are you seeing the telomeres here? Come here, look at the scope.
Dr. Ocasio's lab startup just discovered a gene therapy breakthrough.
The cells have already doubled.
He needs a fleet of research assistants before this breakthrough breaks them.
We need lab techs, research assistants.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Draymond takes the rebound, sprints up the floor. Nobody's stopping. It was all the way in for a dunk.
Wow.
Coast to coast for Draymond. We're tied at 55.
Couldn't be any easier.
Wow.
Now back to Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
All right, final segment, 888-957-9570. We can sneak in another call or two. A lot of good text messages tonight on the Xfinity Mobile text line. We'll get to a couple of more here as we close down the program, as I am in Phoenix at Footprint Center, an empty Footprint Center here as they're cleaning things out. Suns beat the Warriors 134-105 as the Warriors now 2-2 on the season. From the 415, actually from the 510, good text message. I think Klay is looking over at Curry being 34 and still being essentially in his prime, and that may be something weighing on him because his running mate is not playing like that with a full season and a finals run under his belt. I don't know that it's that. I think that's an interesting theory. But I do think there's something to the fact that Klay Thompson isn't Klay Thompson. And everybody's waiting for Klay Thompson to come back and be the guy that he was before the injury. He wants to just get back to being the guy that can play 34 minutes and play every night and be comfortable in that respect and just work his way through slumps and not feel like he's hurting the team. But he just can't find that consistency. I think there is something rooted in the fact that maybe in the back of his mind he's wondering, because he's such a thoughtful dude, if maybe there is a little bit of doubt potentially creeping in as to whether he can be that guy as consistently as he was before. So I think there is something to that. 510 also pointing out that, Gary Payton II's injured right now, and that's a fact. He wouldn't be playing even if the Warriors had kept him. If they had kept him and he wasn't playing for the Warriors and they had paid him $9-10 million a year, because that's what the going rate ultimately would have been to keep him, that wouldn't have looked real good either, because the question about Gary Payton II was obviously durability, and I think even last year at times durability was a little bit of a question. A couple other just observations from the ball game tonight, just to kind of close things out. Jonathan Kuminga was a DNP in the first half, and he didn't play at all until after Klay Thompson had gotten ejected. So he was out of the rotation, and the Warriors were down players in their rotation tonight because they had sent Ryan Rollins, they had sent Patrick Baldwin Jr., Anthony Lamb, all to the G League on G League assignment. Dante DiVincenzo's out with the hamstring. Iguodala still not ready to return. So they had 11, and that was with Ty Jerome, their other two-way player who saw 12 minutes of action tonight and wanting a backup ball handler just in case, kind of the old Chiozza role with DiVincenzo out, another ball handler if need be, and Ty Jerome did get himself in the game, but Kuminga was the odd man out. So 11 available for Kerr tonight. He didn't play Kuminga at all, and didn't go to Kuminga at all until the Warriors got down and were looking for a spark. And so he was able to I thought give the Warriors a little bit of a spark. And look, if he's in the doghouse or benched for whatever reason and not in the normal rotation, that's on Kuminga. Like, Kuminga's got to work his way through it. And I'll say this, I do think he played with the effort, intensity, defense. Tonight was a good step for Kuminga, even though it was kind of an unremarkable box score for him overall, and he wound up being a minus 13. I do think he played with the right intentions, and as far as try to run the floor and rebound and defend, earn your minutes by doing the little things, not because you want to put your head down and go score on somebody. I think the lack of intensity when Steve Kerr put him in the game when the Warriors were up 20 on Sunday night against Sacramento, and I think the Sacramento broadcast on the television side actually caught Steve Kerr just yelling at him during a timeout, just coming at him, and that it was not a surprise that he was a DNP at least into the first half, or into the second half rather, until Klay Thompson wound up out of the game and the Warriors ended up needing a spark down big. And I thought for Kuminga, small thing, but a small positive step for him toward trying to get back in better graces. All right, couple of calls here quickly to wrap it up. Wally in San Rafael on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Wally.
Good evening.
What's going on, Wally?
I didn't even watch most of the game until the third quarter, but you could just tell by the box score that this defense isn't ready to play right now. Like, yes, Gary Payton II's a big loss, but that's not, the difference maker in allowing, I don't know what the stat is, but it feels like at least 20 more points per game than they did last year, like initially, right? And you're coming off of a championship and everything like that, but this defense is just not ready to play right now, and it's evident in what happened tonight, what happened against the Kings. 71 in the first half, and they almost came all the way back. The Nuggets were unbelievable. This defense just isn't ready to play right now, and I don't know if it's just the beginning of the season lulls or something, but, you could just tell. They're just not ready.
They're not ready. And I asked Steve Kerr about the transition defense specifically before the game, and he brought up a note, a number. He said last year, and I'm quoting him, the Warriors gave up about 15, 16 points per game in transition. And in the early going, this is before tonight, 34 points per game in transition for the Warriors, and tonight I'm looking at it now, they gave up 11, so it was more half court tonight, so better in transition but more half court tonight, so that number goes down a little bit more in line. But 34 is over 2 times as much as they had been given up on average last year in transition. Robin in San Francisco. Robin, you're going to be the final caller tonight here on Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Robin.
Hi. So I'm going to make it really quick, JD. I equate Klay's frustration, I like the way you put it, to, I think it's, when you're anxious about something, I equate that to me, to my trying to lose weight. If I don't see results fast enough, I'll go eat a brownie. So I think Klay kind of exploded tonight, and actually I was glad. I was like, because, he always stay calm. And I'm thinking to myself, do you ever explode? So I was thinking about that. But the last thing I want to say is this really quick, is that, I know everybody wants the Warriors to always win and be who they are, but look at them. They're a different team, really, than what they were last year. And actually, they're developing a lot more younger players and less experienced players that really don't they don't teach them anything about defense before they get there. It's like starting out from scratch. You know what I mean? The one I've seen improve is James Wiseman, but all the rest of them don't seem to have any interest in playing defense. And so I don't know why. Is it because they don't know? But we always have to keep in mind that we didn't think Gary Payton Jr. was the defense. We didn't think Otto Porter Jr. was. So give it time and keep remembering, this is a different team. That's all I have to say.
It is a different team. There's no doubt about it. Some different coaches, some different players, a lot more younger players, and they're trying to build continuity. As far as Klay goes, yeah, get it out of your system. Get it out of your system, Klay. And we'll see how he bounces back on Thursday against the Heat. All right, that'll do it for me. I want to thank Sterling Bennett inside our San Francisco studios. Want to thank everybody else cutting highlights and post-game sound and everything, keeping us on the air back in San Francisco. Appreciate the help of one and all. So thanks there. And then I'll be back on Thursday. Warriors Live pregame edition begins at 6 from Chase Center, 6 o'clock. Warriors and the Miami Heat, and you can catch all the action right here on 95.7, the game before the Dubs head out on the road for a 5-game Eastern roadie. So that'll do it from Phoenix. We'll talk to you on Thursday from Chase. Suns beat the Warriors 134-105, and you heard it right here on 95.7, the game. Good night.
Let me guess. Unknown caller? You could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection. The latest innovation from Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And we'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
The award-winning documentary Beyond Homeless, Finding Hope offers real hope for transforming homelessness in San Francisco. Watch at beyondhomeless.org.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that